And I think we can commence. And I'm guessing Della's going to join us when he's ready.
Okay.
I like your background.
Thank you. Do you know where that is? That
I guess not.
it is. That's the one of the two big crystals at the Monroe Institute.
Ah, wow, it's huge.
Well, there are two of them. They used to be one crystal and they broke apart. They are massive, massive. And you can see it's really far away.
Yeah, it's huge.
But, you know, at night you'll see it with your camera orbs around them. You know, you can hold them and get insight. And
Wow.
they're, yeah, and it's such an incredibly beautiful place.
It looks it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we go, Susan. Let's take 3 conscious breaths together. And with a deep in breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, the 4 agreements. The way I structured this session is we're going to go over the 4 agreements each time, just briefly, and then we'll launch into the text and all the discussions. And we're going to begin with an introduction. So first, let's review the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. What's the difference between the way we normally might speak and being impeccable? What does that mean, impeccable?
Very careful. It's so easy to exaggerate or slant. Just look at the news. To even hear things that are statements that are impeccable is a rarity these days. To be really just careful about what you say and look for truth before you speak it.
I'm noticing that in the national discourse, there's a great tendency to label people. And labeling is never the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Never the truth. The word impeccable comes from the Latin impeccare, which means peccare is to sin. Impeccare is without sin.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Thank you.
So to be impeccable is, as we would say in unity, to never miss the mark with your word. Mm-hmm. Be impeccable. I notice in my own speech, I have a tendency to manipulate. That's what comes up in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Don't we all?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to blame others, but I want to cast what I say so that they will just naturally abandon their opinion and point of view and come over to mine.
Well, that goes with being a teacher, too.
Well, hopefully Uh, being a teacher, I don't want to say things in such a way that I feel I'm being manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to be manipulative, and I have an age-old tendency to do that. It has to do with the natural tendency to want to be right
Mm-hmm.
and noticing where others are wrong, which again is a labeling. So there we go. Be impeccable with your word.
If you're raising children, you get really good at that.
Don't take anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take anything personally. My goodness, we happen to have in our public discourse individuals, at least one, who seems to take most everything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take anything personally. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. The most frequent assumption I believe we make is assuming that things will turn out in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do something, I'll say something, and things will turn out in a certain way. People will behave in a certain way. Then we get upset when they don't. Things don't turn out that way.
Or we get upset when they do turn out that way,
Yes,
creating our own reality as we do.
sometimes we get what we wish for, and
Yeah.
I'm not so sure we should have wished for it. And the
No.
fourth is always do your best. In other words, lift the veil of judgment on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just notice you're doing your best. So lighten up and look at whatever you've done as your best. Whatever you've done as doing your best, and others also.
Mm-hmm.
So you're ready to look at some background?
Yes, please.
The way I structure it is there's going to be a summary of what we'll talk about. We'll talk about it, and then I'll repeat the summary. So we hear it 3 times. You are your message to the world. You are your message to the world. As you mature, you learn to use symbols, spoken language, to deliver your message. As you mature, humans who take care of you teach you these symbols. The ones who took care of us. Through rewards and punishments, you learn what is good, what is bad, and how to please humans. I like how Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote this, doesn't talk about parents or mom or dad or people. He talks about humans.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, which includes not only our parents, but our siblings, other people, friends, comrades who teach us the symbols. What is good, what is bad. Even our comrades and friends tell us, oh, that's good. And if we do something they don't approve of, that's bad. And we want to please all the humans. From the moment you are born, you deliver a message to the world. The message is you, that child. You are your message. It's the presence of an angel, a messenger from the infinite in a human body. How reassuring to hold ourselves as the presence of an angel and as a messenger from the infinite, just showing up in a human body. It's a way of dignifying the divine in us in such a way that we get it, we see it, we experience it. The message is you, that child. It's the presence of an angel, a messenger from the infinite in a human body. The infinite creates a program just for you. Just for you. Everything you need to be is in the program. So the infinite creates a program, and it turns out there's nothing missing. There's nothing missing in us or in others. Everything you need to be is in the program. You were born, you grow up, you mate, you grow old. In the end, you return to the infinite. Just like Shakespeare taught us in the ages of man.
Mm-hmm.
We come from the infinite, we experience the stages of life, and then we return. That's it. Every cell in your body is a universe of its own. It's intelligent. It's complete. Every cell in your body is a universe. Do you know, the doctors, the scientists tell us that cells come and go in our bodies. They get regenerated. And apparently, after 7 years, every cell in our body is replaced. Not sure that's true for bones, but according to him, every cell is replaced. Maybe that's why I got this gray hair, what's left of it. All the black hair got replaced with no hair.
Yeah,
No
that's
black
one
hair.
of October's big things, is the fact that every cell in your body is replaced within 7 years. And the fact that you hold on to the idea of the cell is why it comes back, again, looking just like the one before it. Ageless Body, Timeless Mind is a book that he wrote that I think is kind of based on that, is how you go about getting rid of cancer or whatever else it is that you want to get rid of, knowing that everything is replaced.
Every cell is replaced, and it's intelligent, it's complete. It's programmed to be whatever it is. It's programmed to be. Whatever it is, you were programmed to be you. Interestingly, it makes no difference what your mind thinks you are. You are what you are, and then your mind has an idea what you are, but that makes no difference to what you really are. what your mind thinks. The program is not in the thinking mind. It's in the body, and what we might call the DNA. The program is in the body. In the beginning, you instinctively follow its wisdom. As a young child, you know what you like. You follow what you like and avoid what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You follow your instincts, and they guide you. They guide you to be happy, to enjoy life, to play, to love, to fulfill your needs. Then, what happens? What happens? Your body begins to develop. Your mind begins to mature. And then, as is wont for humans, you begin to use symbols to deliver your message. Originally, we just are our message, and it's part of the human makeup that we begin to use symbols to deliver our message. Just as birds understand the birds, as the cats understand the cats,
Mm-hmm.
the humans understand the humans through a symbology. When I was reviewing this, it reminded me of when I go on my morning walks and I'm alert to the birds. They seem to sing a lot in the morning, early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I can hear them talking and responding to each other. One tweets one way and another tweets back. And there are many different varieties of birds with different songs. So it's interesting to see how the birds distinguished among the babble of different songs, which bird is responding to what they are projecting.
Mm-hmm.
And which birds are making a call, and it doesn't seem like any of the bird is responding to it. So there appears to be an understanding amongst all of us life creatures. And we understand each other through symbology. We are programmed to create a language, to invent an entire symbology for ourselves. Isn't that interesting?
Mm-hmm.
We know they've done experiments with other mammals, trying to teach them languages, in particular gorillas and chimpanzees. But apparently it's only the human version of the primates that is specifically programmed to create a language symbology for ourselves using sounds.
Well, animals certainly do create sounds, and they're different, and they have different purposes, and different circumstances elicit different noises. I don't know, maybe, I guess your definition of a language is what comes in here. Maybe don't call that a language. Like our dog, I can tell what she's saying. She can say, I'm on a treat, or I don't, that poodle, or whatever else. She has her own noises.
You're right. And even though the dog may just go rough, sometimes we know the rough means I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the rough means, oh, I'm so glad you're back.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes the rough means, you better take me outside.
Yeah, but it's not just the same rough. They're different roughs. You know, it's interesting.
So, yeah, we observe all these different languages, and yet there's something about the human way that we go about it that we need to look at deeply and understand deeply.
Yes, it's more sophisticated.
So we create a language and invent an entire symbology for ourselves. The dog goes rough, but I don't believe the dogs or the birds have a symbology that they use to represent that language. We're the ones that use a symbology.
I think of the dogs and birds, the noises that they make. To me, it's a language, but I think it's all in the present moment. We talk about the past and we talk about the future, which makes it different. But that's just my perception.
Yes, well, I agree with you. Yet there's this distinct difference. Humans have invented all kinds of symbols to communicate. We observe the birds and dogs communicate one way, but we have different ways of communicating besides the direct sounds we make.
Mm-hmm.
We communicate not only with other humans, but more importantly, with ourselves. And what are some of these symbols? Symbols are the sounds we speak, motions we make, handwriting, graphic signs. So we see the animals make sounds. We sometimes notice them making motions. But the one thing we do that they don't do is handwriting. They don't have an alphabet.
Okay.
They don't draw signs as far as we can tell. We do that. My little briefings apparently are kind of short, so we're going to combine two together. In the next series of slides, we'll talk about the importance of our attention, because it's the part of our mind that allows us to concentrate on a single object or thought out of a whole range of possibilities. So what we just talked about, you are your message to the world. As you mature, you learn to use symbols, spoken language, to deliver your message. Symbols. Humans who take care of you teach you these symbols. Through rewards and punishment, you learn what is good, what is bad, and how to please the humans.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to stop this share and flip over to number 2. All right, this is the second part. You are your message to the world. As you mature, you learn to use symbols, spoken language to deliver your message. Humans who take care of you teach you these symbols. You learn to please humans. You agree what is good, what is bad. In the beginning, there are symbols for objects, ideas, music, mathematics. So here's how we are not quite the same as our dogs and the birds. We have symbols for objects, for ideas, music. Music has a whole set of symbols, and mathematics also has a whole set of symbols. In our experience, The introduction of sounds is the very first step. We learn to use symbols to speak. So the animals make direct requests, or we understand them to communicate something directly in the present moment, but we use symbols for objects, ideas, music, mathematics, and sounds is the first step. We have sounds associated with symbols, which is our words. The humans who come before us already have names for everything that exists. Well, most everything.
Everything they know about, anyway.
It seems when we're learning language, they have names for everything. And maybe the other side of that coin is if there's not a word for it, it doesn't exist yet.
Right. Not in our consciousness, anyway.
They teach us the meaning of sounds. They call this a table. That's a sound. Table. Table. They call that a chair. If you're brought up as a French person, they would call that a chaise.
Yeah.
And they would call that a table. So slightly different sounds depending on where you're brought up. They also have names for things that exist in our imagination, like mermaids and unicorns. Every word is a symbol for something real or imagined. Observe the effort of children, ages 1 to 4. They are learning an entire symbology. Entire symbology. Once we learn to speak, the humans who take care of us teach us what they know. They program us with knowledge. The humans we live with have lots of knowledge, including all the social, religious, and moral codes of their culture. We see in other peoples in other parts of the country or different traditions, how is it that we can have such different attitudes towards things and look at the same thing and see it differently? The humans have programmed us with all the social, all the religious, and the moral codes of their culture. And of course, they did it with love. And we who respond to love soaked it all up. And it becomes part of us and associated with that love. So it sticks. They hook our attention, pass on the information, and teach us to be like them. So they get our attention on a particular thing, pass on a particular piece of information, and teach us to be like them. We may even remember at a particular time in our youth when one parent, a mother or a father, got our attention and told us something that was so important we never forgot, and we remember that thing they told us. Like my mother would get my attention when things weren't working out very well and say, every cloud has a silver lining. She got my attention. She passed on the information, taught me to be like her. Of course, I didn't have a clue what that meant at the time. I just knew that she was a positive person, and it had something to do with not looking at the negative all the time. It wasn't until I got to be an adult that I relooked at what she told me. She hooked my attention, and I understood it.
My mother, my mother told me never get in a smelling contest with a skunk.
Did you know what that meant at the time she told you?
It's refined itself over the years. I thought those were words of wisdom.
I like that. Maybe I'll use that one too.
You may use that.
So let's see if you hook my attention strongly enough that it sticks with me. So they got our attention. We learn how to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman. We learn. We learn how to behave the right way. For example, when you're sitting at the table and someone says, pass the salt, you always pick the salt up and sit it down. You don't hand it to someone directly. That was the right way my mother taught me. Now, when Janice and I sit down at the table and I say, pass the salt, she picks it up and hands it to me and expects me to take it out of her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother hadn't taught her that was the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't take it out of her hand. There's something in me that totally rebels against doing that.
You're well trained.
And I won't do it. Not even just as an experiment to see what it feels like. There's just something in me. I say, would you mind setting it down? She thinks I'm a little nutty.
Mm-hmm. But she loves you anyway.
She sets it down, and maybe I explain what my mother said, and then I pick it up and I feel okay. I've done things the right way. I've learned how to be a good human. A good human never takes the salt from another person's hand.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that. And I want to be a good human. And I like myself when I'm a good human. So I practice the things I've learned to be right so that I can be a good human and like myself. We are domesticated the same way that a dog, a cat, or any animal is domesticated. Sam likes this in particular. Through a system of punishment and reward. We are told we are a good boy or a good girl when we do what the grown-ups want. Or a bad boy or a bad girl when we don't. Actually, food is also used as a system of punishment and reward. If you've seen trainers, for example, with hawks, they always have a little bag of something to eat in their hand. Whenever the hawk comes back and does something, the hawk gets a little piece of food to eat. And you see this with dogs as well. And the trainers will have a little pouch full of dog treats, and the dog does something well, it gets a little something to eat. And until the dog does the thing the trainer wants, it doesn't get the thing to eat. So the dog learns through punishment and reward of food. We are also taught that way with food. There is a tradition in some families where if you do something that's not good, you are sent to your room without dinner. You're not allowed to eat at the dinner table, you're sent to your room. And sometimes the person that's sent to your room or a loving other family member will bring some food to your room so that you are shown love and given the food, even though you did something for which you've been punished by having the food withheld at the time. So you experience two things. One, you did something which was bad. Don't do that, no dinner. But you're also experiencing love, where you're loved. So here's the food anyway, which doesn't mean that we're approving of what you did. It's just that we love you and want you to have some food. So that's how we learn. You are your message to the world. As you mature, you learn to use symbols, spoken language, to deliver your message. Humans who take care of you teach you these symbols. You learn how to please humans. You agree what is good and what is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the operable thing there, I think, is you agree with what is good and what is bad. And sometimes as we get older, we have to change that agreement.
Yes. And these teachings, seem to me, open the door to examining how we have showed up, so that we are empowered to relook at what is good and what is bad when somehow it doesn't seem to be serving us or others or the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The programming is so strong that we need help when a part of us feels like the programming is not working. Now, I'm still not going to take that salt from my wife's hands. It's okay for me.
Well, it's a little bit helpful to know that it's an agreement. You know, the good and the bad, your perception is an agreement. That gives you some personal power over yourself and your perception.
Yes, I agreed with my mother when she told me, always put the salt down, never pass it directly. And that agreement with my mother was encased in love, the love she felt for me. She wanted me to be a good person and to be someone who could be loved. And she loved me and she wanted to be proud of me. So here's the way to behave. And when you behave this way, it's just part of the whole set of behaviors that carries motherly love with you for the whole of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I did have to agree with what she told me. Sometimes children don't agree with all the things they're told, which can get us in trouble. But some of us who are feisty, they just see things a little bit differently and take a different point of view and agree not to agree, even though it gets us in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I was that feisty sort of kid. I think my mother and father, they were always right.
Me too.
You too?
Sure, I always did what I was told.
Right.
I didn't always like it. And sometimes I disagree with what but I didn't say it out loud. And it's, I guess you're taught that. It took me a long time to start speaking up for myself when I really disagreed, if I didn't think it was going to be accepted well.
Yes. So as we mature and learn to express who we really are, if we haven't been taught the tools of disagreement by the humans who raised us, it's a particular challenge because we may not express our disagreement with something in such a way that serves ourselves and others and that can be taken with respect. We need to learn how to do that. So those of us who had parents who taught us how to disagree were lucky. I didn't have that experience. I was just taught to obey.
Me too. Me too. A lot of that's all wrapped up with what we've got going on in our community at this point in time with the police and the protests and people disagreeing and learning how to do that constructively.
Yes, you're referring to the protests, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so here are people who don't like what they see. They are not in agreement with it. And how to constructively protest so that one can truly make a difference and at the same time keep the agreements, be impeccable with your word, not twist things around. So, for example, not to label the police as brutal or racist. That's not being impeccable because it's not true that all police are racists or brutal, although some are. So,
And not agreeing with what so many people were taught, that it's better to be white, that it makes a difference what color your skin is as far as the quality of a human being is concerned. And so many people have not learned to disagree with that. And I think a lot of people now are learning to disagree with that. And, that's a really good thing.
and it's a subtle thing.
Very subtle.
For example, I am grateful that I showed up in the universe with what is called a white skin. It's not really white, it's just a lighter shade of, of coloring.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I did not, in my case, show up with the dark skin because I wasn't subject as a youth to what people with dark skins apparently have been subject to, according to what I hear a lot these days. But still, I can totally respect the human in myself and in others, regardless of the skin color the good Lord gave me when I showed up here.
Hopefully we will all be better able to do that going forward.
So that is where, for example, being impeccable with your word, looking very deeply. For example, when we go to a protest, that's what we choose to do. How to do that so that we are impeccable with what we project. I think that's a challenge.
It is. It's a really good example, though, to be constructive and do something that is constructive, that helps the cause rather than causing more anger and hatred and bigotry. I
saw a show the other night on PBS on, what's her name? The feminist leader. Can't think of her name now. Susan? No, what was her name? Oh, the famous women's lib person who created.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can see her, so we're in agreement with that.
The Ms. magazine.
Yeah.
Her name?
Dorothy Steinem.
Pardon?
Dorothy Steinem.
No. Anyway, what I'll just say is she was trying to be impeccable with her word, and sometimes she was labeled directly to her face. A woman said she was a terrible person and she was a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
She had difficulty with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, she learned what to respond if someone called her a bitch to her face.
What's that? What'd she do?
Thank you. She learned to say thank you. Because for her to be called a bitch, it meant that the person who called her that had passed through apathy, not understanding the position that she was taking, into anger about it.
Yeah.
And that was a good step. So she said, thank you.
The woman I was thinking of was Gloria Steinem. I used the wrong word. But there were so many women's liberation women. But that's such a good concept that, yeah, thanks. I'm working on that. It's okay with me.
And we've been saying that actually to ourselves, haven't we? I give thanks for everything. I give thanks for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever.
Right.
Even being called a bitch.
Right. Thank you. I've been working hard at that. I finally achieved it.
Well, I think we need to close now.
Okay.
So, shall we do that by taking 3 deep breaths together? And with a deep in breath. Shanti, shanti, shanti. We're going to have fun with this, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. I feel like I got a one-on-one class.
You did.
That was great.
You did.
Appreciate that.
We'll do some more next week.
Okay.
So now, since I've been trained by the humans, I'm going to make a symbol. This is a symbol for bye-bye. And now I'm going to say bye-bye too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You have a good week.
Enjoy the service.
Okay.
Bye.